What's happening, guys?
Welcome back to Boost Brothers Garage.
Today we are going to replace the fuel pump and hoses on the Widebody 944.
Gonna see if we can get this thing running without starting fluid.
Let's do it.
Stay tuned. Before we actually go ahead and replace the stock fuel pump, I want to make sure that it's actually bad and we don't have any other issues. There's no B, it's just A. I have my new fuel pump here. I also have my super fancy power probe gift from the wife, maybe the best gift she's ever given me. It's pretty awesome. So we can do things like take this here and test to make sure that the pump works. So we know this one works. We can go into the car, do the same thing. We can bypass the relays, all that nonsense, and check to see just if the pump itself works. We're gonna start there. In order to get to the fuel pump, there is a cover right here on the corner of the fuel tank.
You've got to use a 13 mil socket to take this hanger off.
Once that hanger's off, that cover is in two sections. There's two Phillips screws. You remove those screws, you separate the cover, and then you have access to the fuel pump. Not much for you guys to see down there. The lighting's not great, so I'll just do it real quick.
We got the cover off. Everything went smoothly except for one of the two Phillips screws was stripped, of course, so I had to get a little creative in getting that off. Now, the only thing holding the fuel pump and the shield and everything on is the fuel lines. I'm gonna take those off, and I have a feeling it's about to get real messy in here. Need to try to find something to plug this with. Maybe a 3/8 extension? What I need right about now is those real fancy fuel line clamps that don't damage the hoses, but we don't have those. We're gonna try to stop as much of the flow as we can here with a pair of vice grips. I got the clamp loose. We'll see if we can't get this hose off. Be nice if I could see. There we go. Okay, how old does that feel? I don't know, but I'm covered on it. I got lucky in that 3/8 extension. It was a perfect fit. So along with the vice grips, which I think I can probably take those off, we're good. No more leaks. Now I have to figure out how to get this fuel pump the rest of the way off. That really sucked. I wish you guys could smell what was going on in this shop right now. 10-year-old gas, even mixed in with the new gas we put in, and it is horrific. We finally got this off. Whatever genius installed the fuel pump put the band that secures it, the screw to get it loosened, all the way back here. So when it was on the car, you couldn't get to it. You couldn't do anything. So I had to take the whole assembly off, and we had to take the fitting off at the fuel filter, which obviously we're going to replace the fuel filter as well. But in general, it was a pain. One nice thing Porsche did was put a little harness clip, if you will, right there, so you didn't have to completely unwire the pump before you pulled it out. I'm gonna finish disassembling it here, and then we're gonna test it and try not to start a fire. On top of all the problems I just discussed, I went to loosen that worm gear clamp, and the bolt just came out because this is just rusted together. It's really not cooperating. I tried to break it loose, and it broke in half. Rust. We had to open up the garage even though it's 8 degrees outside because the smell is so horrific. Once again, showing you guys testing the new pump. You can hear it working. Now, let's test the old one, see what it does. Nothing. You can feel the motor in the pump trying to do something, but it doesn't spin, it's locked up. We definitely had a bad fuel pump. One thing that I can't figure out is this giant rubber dampener, whatever that's on the stock pump. I understand why it's there for noise and vibration, but I can't get it off. We cut it all the way down the side here and we still can't get it off. It's almost like got a metal liner in it. The new pump didn't come with it, and all of the aftermarket pumps that I've seen don't come with it. I'm gonna install it without it, I think, but
Does anyone out there have experience with this? Am I missing something? Let me know in the comments below. I made a quick trip to the parts store to get some hose clamps, and I came up with what I think is a brilliant idea. I'm gonna take this air intake coupling, which comes with a reducer as well, and I'm gonna fashion this into my own little isolator, since the pump didn't come with one and I'd really like to have something there. So I'm gonna cut this all up, make one, and I'll show you the finished result. Here's my solution. I am trying to figure out now whether or not I want to run this extra donut. I mean, I like the idea of the extra vibration dampening, but I'm also a little worried about the pump just sitting there going back and forth like this. I don't know which one's worse.
It only had one clamp on it from the factory.
Yeah, but that whole thing went all the way across, so it sat against the shield, so it couldn't sit there and do that. So I'm thinking I may take this off and just run this, which I think is more than most people do and should suffice. We've got the fuel pump mounted. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm happy with my little isolator there. We need to get the fuel filter off and replaced, which is also proving to be a pain in the ass. Once again, I'm not gonna shove the camera under there. It's 2 fittings, loosen them if you can, replace it. We'll bolt this all back up. I just took a stale gas bath, putting the fuel line back on the new pump. I really need a shower. But first, we got everything bolted back together, and if we're lucky and my battery still has enough charge, we're gonna see if we can get this thing to light off.
Does this need to be closed?
What?
The fuel rail.
It is.
Oh, I
I
thought
did that earlier. I just realized something. When we disassembled the interior, we took the ECU out. So, I don't think it's going to start without that.
It's 11 o'clock on a Thursday night.
Try that one more time.
Let me work it up here. Oh!
Let it go.
What was smoking?
I had a couple bare wires from the HVAC that were touching and sparking.
She's running without starter fluid.
It's a beautiful thing.
Sounds like it's got a little knock.
She's got a little tick, tick, tick. We only need it to last one season, though.
So that's the honest truth. Replace the fuel pump, and that's
it.
That's it. After
Literally all we've done.
10 years. Purring like a kitten. Oh, watch out. Horsepower. Oh, she doesn't like that.
Doesn't like that very much. I'm pumped.
This thing's smoking like a son of a bitch. Uh-oh.
I mean, it's probably not running the best because it's still sucking down however old gas. We're gonna have to get that out of there. But all in all, I'm excited.
All we gotta do is throw some taillights in this thing. We can take it for a drive.
Well, it doesn't have any brakes either.
You don't need brakes.
I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, man, if we get it started, throw that wheel back on and go out in the parking lot and bust a couple donuts.
Well, if we're just going to the parking lot, we could do it without taillights.
Right, we don't have taillights, but we also don't have brakes, and we don't have a steering wheel, and we don't have seats. So, that's an issue.
I'm sure we can figure it out.
There you go, guys. How to replace a fuel pump on a 944, and how to get a 944 that's been sitting for 10 years running.
So we're on our way to getting this thing track ready. We've got a water pump, change the oil, we've got some fuel lines for under the hood, timing belt. That's the basic maintenance stuff we're gonna be doing. And then all the other stuff, interior and body that we've been talking about, and those wheels.
That's it for now.
She's gonna be ready to go.
See you guys next time.